Welcome to the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour in race number 7 out of 28 in season number 3. It is the largest super speedway on the entire circuit, the largest track in general. Welcome to the Sanderson Farms 500 from Talladega Super Speedway. Everybody loves Talladega. They always produce great racing, great wrecking. I know drivers don't like to wreck, but the fans love to see it. And I don't know who you want to side with in that battle, but I don't know who I want to side with either. Overall, Talladega has had a very rich history to it, and it's considered one of the two main super speedways on the NASCAR schedule and on this schedule in the MSCCT. It's often debated whether tracks like Michigan, Texas World, Pocono, it's often debated whether they are actual super speedways, because Michigan and Texas World, which are essentially carbon copies of each other, they are 2 miles long, and Pocono is a triangular track with only 3 turns that is 2.5 miles long. The reason why some people don't like to call Pocono a super speedway is because of the fact that you have to brake in the turns. You don't really have to do a whole lot of that at Michigan and Texas World. You might just have to lay off the gas a tiny bit at the apex of the corners, but at Pocono, you really have to do some braking, and especially turns 2 and 3. They are a lot slower corners than you might think, so some people debate over whether it's a super speedway. But the two undisputed super speedways that race teams and race organizations often have on their schedule is Daytona in Florida and Talladega in Alabama. So this is where we're at. We're at Talladega, Alabama. Wonderful weather here on this Saturday evening. It is 73 degrees and sunny from Talladega Super Speedway. 2.66 miles on this oval. And I gotta tell you, you know who's really good at super speedways? Your pole sitter today, Dan Wilkins in a 00. He swept the Daytona events last year, winning the American Airlines 500, the first race of Season 2, after leading the last 8 laps following a late restart. And then also he recovered to make a big, commanding win on the night race for the Publix 400. Remember that the Daytona races are a lot more spread out. There's the American Airlines 500, which is the first event, the first points-paying event of the year. That's going to be the first race, and that's always been Daytona, and probably always will be Daytona. It's been that tradition, especially with NASCAR with the Daytona 500, the Great American Race. And then there's the Publix 400, which is the last regular season race before the championship lottery. Now this year it's a little bit different because we have playoffs. The first playoff race will be Bowman Gray, and the last regular season race would be Lime Rock Park. However, Daytona is still the last race, race number 27. It's the last points-paying race before the championship lottery. Now, don't get me wrong, the championship lottery is a points-paying race. It's just the last one of the season, and Daytona is the last one that, doesn't have a track that you vote on. But he has won twice at Daytona. Don't know if he can do it again at Talladega, but putting him in the pole position probably is going to put him in at least somewhat of an advantage for this 57-lap event. He didn't do too well at last year's Talladega race. He finished 1 lap down, but that was mainly because he got caught up in that big wreck that caught up over 20 cars on lap number 12. We hope we don't see those early wrecks really come and bite this field again, because you really hate to see it for the race teams and everybody that works on these cars and brings them out to this track each day and, and puts them to work. This is going to be a long event, though. Don't be surprised if you're going to see good racing, though, for at least 75% of it. It's going to be a real good race. I think so. Talladega, it's always a good show. I wouldn't always say from beginning to end, but usually from the time the green flag drops until at least halfway, there's good racing up and down the pack. So don't be surprised if whoever's starting 42nd is going to be up near the front of the field. We've seen people at Daytona and Talladega go from worst to first and then first to worst over the course of just a few laps. So don't expect the people in these starting positions to stay where they're at. They're going to make moves. They're going to race each other hard early because they're going to jockey for position, and they're going to try to keep it there. With that being said, we're going to take a look at the number 92 of Ryan Adema for our starting command for the Sanderson Farms 500 from Talladega Super Speedway.
Go out there and have time today. We'll make it happen at the end, my friend. Say something up here. You're ready to rock and roll. Good luck to you guys on pit road down there today.
As we follow the field out onto the racetrack, it's time for your starting lineup. In row number 1 is Dan Wilkins and Kieran Wolf. Row 2 is Ryan Adema and Creed Daniel. Row 3 is Santiago Alvarez and Sarah Feng. Hold on 1 second while I sort of fix this thing here. Should work now. Here we go. Row 3, Sarah Feng and Santiago Alvarez. Row 4, Luis Aguilar and last week's winner, Kyle Driscoll. Row 5, Armin Salvador and Nelson Reeves. Row 6, Caden Robitaille making his debut and Jacob Thibodeau. Row 7, Chase Buck and Patrick Starr. Row 8 would be Jesse Owens Jr. and Riley Wedge, 2 teammates. Row 9 would be Darian Arnsdorf and Donna Wilkins. Row 10 would be Matthew Green and Christian Coppola. Row 11 will be Doug Doring and Ronnie Martin. Row 12 will be Brandon Allen and Charlotte Kelly, again, 2 teammates. Row 13 will be Yuri Najimi and Leland Hill. Row 14 will be Nolo Hamilton and Werrell Daltrip. Row 15 will be JJU and Callan Fleming. Row 16 will be John Reese and Hunter Walker. Row 17 will be Sam Joseph and Daniel Rivera. Row 18 will be Adeline Galvin and Jackson Snyder. Row 19 will be Brennan Wilmington and Molly Fleming. Apologies for the camera here. Oh boy, we're losing it. We're losing the camera here. As John Reese is blowing up, let's finish up the starting lineup real quick. Row 19 will be Brennan Wilmington and Amelia Nielsen, and then rounding it out will be Nate Relum and Chris Lattimore. Yeah, let's bring that back to where we were going there. But at least you got a new view of the starting lineup, which we haven't really seen before. Put that in there. And there you go. The Sanderson Farms 500 is about to get started. Dan Wilkins on the inside. Kieran Wolf on the outside. It'll be 57 laps of exciting racing from Talladega as Ryan Adema has dipped down low. We have the green flag, but also you have to wonder what in the world's going on with Ryan Adema. In fact, everyone is slowing up. The 54 of Leland Hill didn't get going. Neither did the 01 of Charlotte Kelly. Charlotte Kelly didn't get going. This is splitting up everybody. Ryan Adema's on pit lane. Now headed down the backstretch for the first time. What in the world is going on? John Reese already blew up because he had an engine problem or whatnot on the pace lap, which we've seen sometimes, but it's just not normal, and you know, you're always sort of shell-shocked when you see it. And now look at Luis Aguilar and that brand new paint job for the number 55. You've got a Dan Wilkins sandwich right here. Dan on the outside, Luis on the inside, and then in the middle you have a former DWR driver from Season 2. That will be Santiago Alvarez, who won twice. He won at Charlotte in the Coca-Cola 600, and then again at the Autism Speaks 400 at Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile. And Aguilar had enough of a run off that corner to make the lead, and right now it looks like he might stick with it because he just went from extremely high to extremely low. But Jesse Owens Jr., the ARE car in that number 24, another Dodge, he's going to try to take that one away. They're 3 wide going into the tri-oval. It's Aguilar, Owens Jr., and Arnsdorf back to the line. What do they got going for them? Oh, they might go 4 wide here. Owens got loose. Here comes Matthew Green. Green is going to make contact with Arnsdorf. They're 3 wide all the way back in unison. Love to hear the sound of those cars. On lap number 3, Matthew Green in the Girlzoon Panzer number 05 Chevrolet on the outside, with Doug Doring, the newcomer who came back at Bristol. He's in the lead. ARE having a spectacular start. the 30 in the top 5, along with Owens and Riley Wedge, who's made his way into the picture, helping the 13 of Donna Wilkins. Also, where's Adema? He's a lap down, and it turns out that Carlos Rex also didn't start the race. So something's going on there. Where is Adema, you might ask? Is he on the track? Nope, he's still on pit lane. So, obviously not the best start for him, and not what you want to see. But Riley Wedge, I'm sure Adema's getting updates from his spotter. You know, he's kind of hearing from his spotter, Colin Smith, and he's kind of saying, yeah, your teammate's in the lead right now, Riley Wedge in the 85, and that's what he's probably hearing. I can't assume that, though. I can't tap into the spotters. Here comes Ronnie Martin on the inside. Nolo Hamilton, your runner-up from last year, now into the picture, also in the top 5. What did I tell you? Worst to first. Martin was starting near the rear. I mean, Rivera was starting like 35th or something. Something abysmal. But at Talladega, it doesn't matter because you can go to the front of the field in a heartbeat. Even Dan Wilkins right now. Dan Wilkins is running in 28th. But that doesn't matter because he started on the pole. He can work his way back. Here's JJU going to the lead, native of Cary, North Carolina. At these super speedways, it does not matter where you start. It matters where you finish. It doesn't even matter where you're leading at the halfway point or when a time of caution comes out. It matters who is in the lead when the checkered flag flies, and that's why you see so many late moves made at this race. Everybody stays back for as long as they can, and then they just absolutely go medieval on the last couple turns of the racetrack. Lap number 6, no conflicts yet. But yeah, like I said, bad day for Carlos Rex and John Reese, who didn't even get to take the green flag, and Ryan Adema, who ducked down low and is now 4 laps down on pit lane, presumably out of contention already. And then also Charlotte Kelly, who's 1 lap down, didn't get started. And then World Ultrip, who is 23 seconds off the pace and probably going to become lapped bait liver, as I call it. Or lapped liver. Wherever you want to go with that, that's what I'm calling it. Darian Arnsdorf in the back of that pack might be losing the draft a little bit. Don't presume anything, though. I mean, also, considering that nobody wants to wreck their cars like they did at Daytona, it's so clear that there's just been so much wrecking early on in the race. You know, it doesn't make it enjoyable for anybody, whether it's the drivers or the fans, because everybody's wiping out half the field by the time that you're 5 to 10 miles in. This is the kind of racing that I like to see, where everybody's hanging in there, but not going all medieval at it, literally at 7 laps into the race. You have to kind of consider that in one form or another. As Kyle Driscoll, last week's winner, is back in the lead. Creed Daniel giving him a good run on the inside. Driscoll got a little bit too far ahead of himself there and ended up getting swallowed up by the draft. As here comes Charlotte Kelly in the number 01 Chevrolet. Probably going to get swallowed up by this pack right here. Brandon Allen looks like he's lost a draft. Let's take a look at the number 22 of Caden Robitaille, the new guy in town. Uh-oh. Creed Daniel's slowing. He's going to pit lane. Robitaille will take the lead. So that just split up the pack. Creed Daniel's going to pit lane for an unexpected pit stop on lap number 9. He's going to enter... And he's just going to get some maintenance done. I just don't know why. And here's Ryan Adema finally entering the track 6 laps down. I am very flabbergasted by what's going on here. as now 4 cars have broken away from the rest of the pack because of the fact that the leader's blowing up. You gotta be kidding me. What a great turn of events early on. Kyle Driscoll, last week's winner at Bristol, after taking the lead with 13 to go following a late restart, he now has blown up in a just series of woes for this team. They thought they were at the top of their mountain when when Kyle Driscoll won at Bristol. But obviously today is not going to be the case. Kyle Driscoll is out, and I just noticed Brandon Allen's on pit lane. That's weird. So how about this for your leader? Santiago Alvarez has jumped out to about a universe's length of a lead, but you know how that's going to go. It's not going to go well. He already led that last lap by 1.71 seconds. And now he's going to go for more. How much does he lead this lap by? It's going to be 2.18, 2.11. That's still a whole lot for Talladega. I got to tell you, that's unprecedented. Thibodeau going low. Yeah, there's Charlotte Kelly trying to work with Alvarez. She's currently in 38th, 1 lap down. Although she might get her lap back if she's able to clear Alvarez. Don't know if that's going to work, though. All these guys are running about 5 miles per hour faster than Santiago. He's running about 186 with the tandem of the 01. Yeah, these pack guys are running 192, 193. They will catch up to Alvarez. Mark these words. I think they're going to do it this lap, probably. They're 3 wide all the way back. They have the power. Watch this. You know it's not going to be good when you have a guy with a big lead that just gets swallowed up by the pack. As Charlotte Kelly holding her line on the middle. But yeah, pretty surprised by the 2 rookies making their debut this afternoon. Our first spotlight would go to the 22 of Caden Robitaille, currently running 13th. Picked up by Sooner State Racing. And then also, a little further behind in this pack is Nate Rellum in the 95. He's running 30th right now. But obviously running for his own team from Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's called Click and Clack Racing, or CCR. As Daniel Rivera, currently with the spotlight right now. He's got a new paint job as well. Wonder if we can take a look at that paint job. There it is. Let's turn off the camera. Look at this. This is his new paint job, sponsored by FedEx Express. You can see as we loop around here, he's got the stuff on the hood. And, you know, it's always a great thing to see when you've got the new paint jobs in town. Let's switch around to the... There it is, the left side. Just an overall great design. I really do like it. That being said, let's attach this drone thingy here. Let's attach it to his roof and take a look from his hood camera. There you go. Yeah, Rivera's falling back a little bit, but I gotta tell you, a little bit of a newcomer is at the front of the field, and I wouldn't say newcomer as in racing experience. I'm talking newcomer as in newcomer and a front runner. You don't see this guy at the front too often. He only has 1 top 10 this season, and that'll be Hunter Walker for the number 23 of All-Star Speed Team. If you don't remember, the All-Star Speed Team also fields the number 98 of Darian Arnsdorf and the number 14 of Carlos Rex. They're a Ford team, probably one of the more dominant Ford teams out there. They're able to hold their own, and they're able to really be a competitive force week in and week out. They haven't had a win in a little while, although it was pretty recent that they got their first win of the season. That would be with Carlos Rex in number 14, who is currently running in the... Let's take a look at our scoreboard here. Excuse me, I just kind of had a blank there. He didn't start the race. He's finishing 41st today, so kind of feel bad for him, but that's how ASST got their first win of the season. It was at Watkins Glen in a rather unusual snow race in 17-degree weather, the coldest race in league history. It was in a deep coat of snow, and even though Daniel Rivera really rallied to get himself to the front of the field, it didn't work at the end of the day. And now we got a big wreck in turn number 1. Caution is out. Santiago Alvarez, Donna Wilkins, Amelia Nielsen stopped in her tracks. Armin Salvador, several cars banged up. Alvarez definitely done. As Werrell Daltrip, unrelated, is now exploding. Let's take a look at the rest of the field and see how they hang out in the race back to the line. Caution is out on lap number 17 for that wreck in turn number 2. It was in between 1 and 2, but regardless, point still stands. Let's take a look at it. Let's see what's cooking. So finally under caution for the first time today. Took them a while to do it, but it ended up being a wreck that consumed a lot of the rear portion of the field. And I have a feeling I know why. You can take a look right here. Let's get this thing rolling. So first thing that I want to point out is that there's no need for Doug Doering to be squeezing his nose in there. I don't think that that's needed, but regardless, let's take a look from super slow motion here. Well, not super slow motion, but still, he knocks up into the 20, and then this happens. And you can see where it all goes, you know, sort of wrong. Bunch of cars into the wall there. 55, 30. Armin Salvador, I don't think I mentioned him. He's got a new paint scheme as well. 52. Sponsored by Boost Mobile and Duralast. And then watch this. If I can... Yeah, there you go. The 16 of Santiago Alvarez got slammed into by the 27 of Amelia Nielsen. So... yeah, tough wreck for all involved, as obviously not the way that you want to start the race for yourself, especially when you weren't running in the front of the field to begin with. These people were running, I'd say, 25th to maybe 30th at worst. Let's take a look at where Doering was at the time of the accident. He was running in... let's see, he was running in the 28th position. So yeah, it was not the best move for him to make. But let's take a look from his hood camera in the number 30, unsponsored Pontiac for Adama Racing Enterprises. I mean, he got out of it not without a scratch, but it was a lot better off than many of the other drivers involved in that could have said. So, but we take a look from the number 20 of Daniel Rivera, who essentially got packed into the wall. Let's take a look from his view. Definitely not what you want to see for Rivera either, especially since he was doing so well, you know, qualifying-wise, and also considering that he's pretty good for his point standings right now. So running hit the back of the field and then kind of getting ran out of contention, not what you want to see. We're going to look at one more camera after this. This is the 16 of Santiago Alvarez. Or, correction, 2 cameras. Oh, head-on contact right there. That is... oh, that is scary. And of course, there was one camera that I forgot about. This camera. We're going to take a look at an in-car view of what Alvarez kind of saw while he was experiencing that lap 16 accident. You're going to be looking at an exclusive camera right here. Watch this. Oh. So yeah, hard hit. But before we move on to the regular live feed from Talladega Superspeedway, let's take a look at the hood of the number 52 of Armin Salvador, who didn't get the worst damage of the wreck, but still not very good for his 52 team for Virginia Beach Motorsports. And he's just sliding down the track, and then 16 rams into him. So now what you want to see, he's currently sitting on pit lane, getting repairs done. Right now, still under caution, Darian Arnsdorf is your leader on lap number 19. Obviously, Darian Arnsdorf not in the best spot right now. He's currently 31st. I tell you, 31st in points. That is something that you didn't expect to see. And I'll tell you why. He was in the championship lottery last year. Last season, he was 4th in points. Now, he wrecked out early in the championship lottery race, so he didn't exactly have the best leverage out of the 5 drivers who were in. But still, 4th place finish shouldn't translate to 31st at the end of the day. He's behind Adeline Galvin and in front of JJU at this time due to our current point standings. But you realize what else? This race, especially if Arnsdorf finishes well, it's going to shake up the point standings a lot. You know why? Because both Kyle Driscoll and Ryan Adema, who are currently running 1, 2, and respectively in the points, they both have had bad days. Driscoll is out with a camshaft problem. He's going to finish 39th. Adema's probably not looking much better. He's 6 laps down. He's going to most likely finish the race because he'll be out of the way of everything. Especially if he's off the pace, which I don't know if he is. The draft will surely tell if he's on or off the pace. But if he doesn't have a good finishing position, which, regardless of whether you're in the draft or not, 6 laps down is going to give you a bad finishing position. Unless 3/4 of the field wreck out, and, you know, it essentially gives you that sort of vibe. But regardless, this could mean that if Dan Wilkins finishes well, he could take the points lead. Because right now, he's only 8 points behind the points leaders, Driscoll and Adema. And Driscoll only took the lead because he won at Bristol. He wasn't running well for the rest of the day. He was running like 25th. He really got a lucky break because of a good pit stop, and that's how he won. So, you know, I'll cut him some slack for winning in the first place. But obviously not going to be good for either the 80 or the 92. But it could mean that Dan Wilkins could reclaim the points lead. Especially if Ronnie Martin, if he does well, he could also have a similar situation. Where he's currently 16 points back in 4th. And right now, he is running, where is he? Running. He is in 24th. Again, that could very well change. Because, I mean, right now the top 5 in points are Driscoll, Adema, Wilkins, Martin, and Alvarez. Well, Driscoll and Adema are both out of contention. Wilkins is running inside the top 5. Martin is running mid-pack, but that can change. And Alvarez is out after the accident that we had just looked at. So, very, very tight race for points. It's still early in the season, so don't expect it to have, you know, major playoff implications. So, that will be interesting to see. As now, we get to see the new formations. You might notice that this is a little bit different. We have, for the first time in MSCCT history, adopted the modern double file restart with all the lapped cars starting at the back. Look at that. You love to see it. And there's Armin Salvador just now leaving pit lane. So on the inside is Darian Arnsdorf. On the outside is Yuri Najimi. The rest of your top 10 is as follows. You have Nate Relham, Dan Wilkins, Patrick Starr, Riley Wedge, Jesse Owens Jr., Matthew Green, Nolo Hamilton, and Brennan Wilmington. From Talladega, it's the Sanderson Farms 500. We go green once again for the second time on lap number 21 out of 57. Najimi getting a good run from the outside. She's going to take the lead going into turn number 1. I gotta tell you, I'm glad that restart worked, and I'm glad there wasn't much conflict. Arnsdorf getting the lead back, as he's going to get help from Nate Relum on the inside. That new driver we had just said, making his debut tonight. Everybody's still having to get up to speed, but they're already 3 wide. Look at Patrick Starr getting that run on the inside. They're also 3 wide for second as well. Look at Dan Wilkins going way low, slamming into the back of the number 24 of Jesse Owens Jr. near his right rear quarter panel, trying to get some leverage off the corner exit, as now Patrick Starr, who led over 15 laps here last year, he is now going to reclaim the lead. Starr is pretty darn good on super speedways. He didn't win a race last year, nor has he won one overall in his career. So he's looking to get redemption today. He even made the championship lottery and was 5th in points at the end of the day, but he just didn't pull off a win. I mean, Nolo Hamilton was the same way. He made it to the championship lottery, but didn't pull off a singular win. But he was always running at the front, but just never in front, never in first place, never at the front of the field when the checkered flag flew. And he led a few laps. He led over half of the laps at Chicago Motor Speedway as they're 4 wide. Look at this. It'll be marvelous if they don't wreck. Do they hang on? Galvin makes a beeline for the outside. They all hang on, and they all stay green. This is going to be an interesting battle here. I mean, they're all really bunched up here. Here comes Nelson Reeves to the inside, the native of Midland, Texas, for Pacific Racing. Once at his lowest point in racing, running for his own team, pole position racing in the number 17 Dodge, running abysmal in mid-pack. Guess what? He's with a contending team now. He joined a Canadian Tire in season number 2, and guess what? We're 1 season ahead. We're several races ahead. We're at least 2 dozen or 3 dozen races ahead. He's made immense progress. It is just a matter of time before Nelson Reeves collects his first win. As there's going to be a big wreck, I might have just jinxed it. We've got a big wreck in 3. Cars everywhere. Molly Fleming involved. Caden Robitaille. It is a mess and a junkyard. Ryan Adem of that lapped car. Dan Wilkins, Adeline Galvin. There were 2 separate wrecks that had basically chain reactioned off of each other. As now JJU will barely edge out Sarah Fang at the line as the caution comes out, and that is a doozy. On lap number 23, you could argue that one's the big one. It's not when you want to see the big one, it's if. Because we know it's not a matter of if, but when. So let's take a look. I mean, we saw 1 lap before, 2.66 miles before, that there were 4 wide action racing between Jesse Owens Jr. and Nolo Hamilton and all those guys. Well, this is obviously a very similar case. So let's dive into it, shall we? So let's see. What do we got cooking here? So we turn our camera around. You can see I'm not great with drone skills, but just cut me some slack, eh? So let's see. I think it's pretty apparent. I mean, 33 gets hooked by Riley Wedge and then goes up in the chase. Yikes. Yeah, definitely not what you want to see. I mean, there's Dan Wilkins. I mean, and this is the second wreck that happens up there. There's Molly Fleming and Charlotte Kelly. There's Brennan Wilmington. I mean, it might not have been as big as I had thought it was at first, so, apologies. But, yeah, definitely a lot of cars involved in that one. But I do think there were a lot of cars that got minimal damage, so they're probably going to be fine. I don't know. That's interesting. We are going to take a look at some camera angles, obviously, since this was a important wreck. We just have to travel our way back to Nolo Hamilton's number 33 car, since that's obviously not the easiest thing to do in the world. We're just going to keep it at that camera angle, since that looks fine. Let's delve into it, shall we? Let's take a look first at the number 33 hood of Nolo Hamilton. I didn't think the 08 got damage at first, but it's apparent that he definitely did, so... Thought he might... I mean, yeah, he's got his entire front hood packed in. I don't know what I was thinking. Let's take a look at the 85 of Riley Wedge, native of Cleveland, Ohio. He actually made it through. Despite instigating the wreck somewhat, he made it through without really much of a scratch. So, that being said, let's take a look at his other teammate, the number 24 of Jesse Owens Jr. Yeah, I feel like he's going to probably be fine. He might be a little bit off pace, but probably won't be the end of the world. Let's take a look at the number 7 of Molly Fleming, who had been running in the 25th position. Let's look at her view. That's why the 08 has his hood smashed in, because he hit the 7, not the 33. So now we get to see some of the non-lead lap cars just in time come on the pit lane. That's Creed Daniel, Charlotte Kelly, Ryan Adema, and Armin Salvador. But JJU is in the lead for Hendrick Motorsports. I gotta tell you, didn't expect to see him in front today. I mean, he was really mostly known for getting in on the last bubble spot of the American Airlines 500, so he would start 14th. So definitely an interesting sight to see. Do the caution lights come off? They do not. So we got another circuit of caution lap racing, if you want to call it that. We've got another commencement of caution lap racing right now. But yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon for sure that, you know, you usually see a lot of upset winners at super speedways. Most recent example, of course, being the Daytona 500 in NASCAR. Michael McDowell took home his first career win after a long drought of not winning in any level of organized racing. He won in Xfinity, I believe, 5 or 6 years ago, but Xfinity doesn't just feel the same. It's, you know, the Cup racing, he was with Front Row Motorsports. I'm sure he's getting a raise after that Daytona 500 win. You know, some call it luck, some call it the fact that he was in the right place at the right time. In a way, I agree with you, yes. But he was also the winner at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter if it's luck or not. A win is a win, and I think you should credit it as such. And I mean, JJU, number 5, Nations Guard Chevrolet Camaro. Definitely a good paint scheme. Reminds me of Kyle Larson's primary. Of course, when he came back to Hendrick Motorsports. You know, I mean, Kyle Larson, such an interesting story. Well, I mean, not interesting, but I guess unique. Because he came up through sprint cars, dirt sprint cars, did absolutely incredible there, did great in trucks, then did great in Xfinity, and then proceeded to get a ride in Cup with Chip Ganassi Racing in the number 42. After Juan Pablo Montoya retired at the end of the 2013 season, he would take over full-time, and it was a great experience for him. He got a few wins, and then once the pandemic hit for COVID in 2020, he actually, did a bit of an oopsie. In an iRacing live stream, he said the N-word during a race at the Monza Oval. As you can tell, Kyle Larson is not of color, so I don't know how to explain this. That's why I'm sort of stumbling over my words. He said the N-word, got suspended, and came back. So that's what's going on. Your top 10 as of right now: JJU, Sarah Feng, Riley Wedge, Kieran Wolf, Matthew Green, Jackson Snyder, Sam Joseph, Darian Arnsdorf, Yuri Najimi, and Callan Fleming. One interesting thing to note is that out of these top 10, there's only 2 combined wins. There is Sarah Feng, who, maybe 3 if you include non-points paying races, but Sarah Feng won at Phoenix, and she also won the All-Star Open at Bowman Gray, but that's, again, not a points paying race, so take it with a grain of salt. But she won at Phoenix to open the second half of Season 2, and then Darian Arnsdorf, who is in 8th right now, He won at Walt Disney World Speedway for the third race of Season 2. So this will be interesting. Especially with you out in front. I don't know if he can compete out front, but I'll tell you who can. Some of these cars who are also in the top 10, you have Riley Wedge in third, an ARE car, great equipment. You've got the 8 of Callan Fleming in BSR equipment, Black Swan Racing. That'll probably be something that can contend. As here you go. Well, something's going on here. JJU won't go to the inside. So, how do you do? I'm getting flashbacks from Season 2 Charlotte, and I'm really hoping this isn't the case right now. Let's just watch the pace car and hope that caution lights don't come on. They're like a point of no return. There we go! I think this is the first time with him in front, so he wasn't used to the flow of everything. JJ on the inside, Sarah on the outside. The 5 and the 93, one Chevrolet, one Ford. They'll take the green flag on lap number 28 of the Sanderson Farms 500 from Talladega. Here we go, we're back in action. Feng with a good run, but we've seen this kind of shtick before where the leader on the outside gets a good run going into going into 1, and then the leader that was on the inside got the last laugh on the corner exit. But this time it's not going to be the case because Sarah Feng ended up being able to swiftly clear the 5 on corner exit there, so it will be a moot point. Good Jesse Owens Jr. moving around in the back of the pack, jockeying for position. As of now, as we're basically halfway through the race, there are 25 cars in the lead lap, 28 on track, and a whole bunch of cars that are out of the garage. Or excuse me, in the garage and out of the race. I ended up just flipping up my words there. Right now, the cars that are out of the race are Nolo Hamilton, Adeline Galvin, Patrick Starr, Molly Fleming, Daniel Rivera, Donna Wilkins, Santiago Alvarez, Amelia Nielsen, Worrell Daltrip, Kyle Driscoll, last week's winner, Brandon Allen, and also Carlos Rex and John Reese. But I don't know if you want to consider that too much because they didn't even take the green flag. JJU still in position numero uno at this time, with the number 4 of Sam Joseph giving him a run, almost like a tandem draft, as Nate Relham, who solidified himself in 3rd, is going to try to get a run from Jacob Thibodeau on corner exit here. Here comes Sam Joseph. He breaks away from the tandem to try to take the lead on his own volition. Looks like he might do that. Here comes the race back to the line on lap number 29. He barely does it, sticking that right wheel in front, and he beats him out by 1/100th of a second. That's something you see commonly here at Talladega. You see very close finishes, regardless of whether it's the last lap or one of the first few laps. It's always going to be close, unless you got something like the 2011 fall race. I don't know if you remember the 2011 fall race. Good Sam Roadside Assistance 500, I think that's what it's called. But it was essentially an RCR tandem. It was probably the last super speedway race that could be considered during the tandem era, but it was 2 RCR cars who dominated the last couple of laps. It was Jeff Burton and Clint Boyer. They both finally broke in the middle of the tri-oval, jockeyed for their own position, jockeyed for the win and for that checkered flag. But eventually it was Clint Boyer who was able to just barely overtake Jeff Burton. It was still a win for owner Richard Childress and for for the team as a whole, because they had finished well, and they also had their top 2 cars finished 1 and 2. You can't get much better than that, regardless of who takes the checkered flag at the end of the day. A few cars losing the draft, that would be Creed Daniel, Ronnie Martin, Brendan Wilmington, Caden Robitaille, just a few. Although if another yellow comes out, then that might be a I don't know what you would refer to it as, but might be an indicator that they might come back. I do have a feeling, though, that there's going to be at least one other incident before the checkered flag flies, because that's going to be... It's going to be something to at least consider, I think, with the fact that there's been so many mechanical issues, along with the wrecks. That's why, like, just under half the field is already out. That's why. Because there's been a bunch of mechanical issues. You have Reese, you have Rex, you have Daltrip, you have Driscoll. That's 4. Let's take a look from the hood of the number 4, speaking of Sam Joseph. They're getting a little squirrely into 1. We'll see if anything emerges from that. Looks like Callan Fleming breaks away. They're 4 wide coming off of 2. There wasn't enough wide. Look at this. They're bumping, they're banging. And Christian Coppola is spinning. Big crash in 3. It's Arnsdorf, and then Martin comes along and pile drives himself in as everybody slides to the bottom of the banking. Leland Hill, Sarah Fang, Darian Arnsdorf, and Hunter Walker as everybody gets jammed up. Who wins the race back to the line? It's the native of Lyon, France. Jacob Thibodeau leads at caution. That's heartbreak right there. That is heartbreak. I mean, that's not every day you see the leaders just completely obliterate themselves like that, but that's exactly what happened, so. Told you something was going to happen. Told you. As soon as they went 2 wide, or 4 wide, I knew it was going to happen. So let's take a gander, shall we? Alright. So this. What happened here? So as you can see, I mean, you've got Christian Coppola up here. I mean, they're literally just trading paint at this point. They are so close together that it is comical. And eventually, something has to blow, something has to overboil, and this is exactly where it happens. The 31 of Christian Coppola gets sent into the wall. Oh, man, he went on his side right there. Man. And then also the 93 of Sarah Fang, 4 of Sam Joseph got in it. There's the 98 of Darian Arnsdorf getting pushed by the 95 of Nate Relham, and then they all slid down the track. Look who's coming along. It's 29 of Ronnie Martin. I can't talk today, but it doesn't matter. My goodness. Bad crash, though. Bad crash. We are going to take a look at the number 54 of Leland Hill. See what he's cooking. 31 nearly got on top of the 54. Oh, man, hard hit. While we're at it, let's also take a look at that cockpit camera, since I really do love the in-car camera that we've now been provided with. So, let's take a gander. There we go. Like the right rear wheel well. I honestly think that looks better than it did before. Let's get it on. You can see all the smoke accumulating inside the car as he's trying to stop it. Definitely not what you wanted to see if you were Leland Hill, but let's take a look from the hood of the number 31 of Christian Coppola. Oh, that's the wrong guy. That's Doug Doering. Okay. There we go. Let's take a look. Boom! That's the second time that's happened today. You saw it with Martin and Coppola, and now... Or I should say it's the other way around. You've now seen it with Martin and Coppola, but it happened before with Nielsen and Alvarez. So, Don't be surprised. We're going to take a look at the number 93 now of Sarah Thang and see what's going on. Like I said, 31's got 2 wheels off the ground. Definitely not what you wanted to see. So yeah, Sarah Thang at the rear of the field. Again, the lead lap cars have already pitted, and the lapped cars will now take their shot at the pits. Right now, we just crossed the 20 to go plateau, and I gotta tell you, it's a lot of good racing. There's pack racing up and down. There's wrecking. You get something that the drivers like and that the fans like. So nobody's got to suffer. Your current top 10, Jacob Thibodeau, Yuri Najimy, Callan Fleming in third, Riley Wedge in fourth, Matthew Green in fifth, JJU, who had led at the previous restart, at the start of that one, he's in sixth, Chris Lattimore in seventh, Luis Aguilar in eighth, Sam Joseph in ninth, and Nate Relham making his debut, he's in 10th. Now, where's Caden Robitaille, you might ask? Well, he's right behind Relham. He's in 11th. So right now, the two guys who are making their debuts today, they are back-to-back. And, of course, Dan Wilkins, who started this race on pole, he's right now out of the race. I believe so. Well, where is he? No, he's not. He's still here. I don't know why I said that. He's still here. He's in 16th. Let's take a look at his car real quick. Let's scroll up. There we go. But obviously, with 00 Dan Wilkins, you got to consider he had to go through a whole bunch of hoops, even just to make this race. As somebody's blowing up in front of us, who among us is blowing up? You got to say, it's the number 05 of Matthew Green. That's the 5th mechanical failure we've seen today. He gets the wave on the pit road. That's not what you wanted to see. He had a strong run at Watkins Glen and then ran sort of mid-pack at Michigan and Bristol. Now he is done. So yeah, that kind of interrupted what I was saying. That's also an ignition problem, by the way. But 00 Dan Wilkins, he tested positive for COVID last week. He had to provide 2 negative tests in a row to show that he was eligible to race today, and he was able to do that just in time. Literally yesterday, was able to show that he was COVID negative and was able to attend today's events. He didn't need a backup driver. He had a backup driver ready. That would be the number 95 of Nate Relham. But problem is that he already registered for a cup team. Basically, each team, I'm not talking about each individual team. I'm talking every team, like the ASST or DWR or ARE. They all register like 1 or 2 backup drivers that if somebody gets sick or gets injured, they have somebody that they can rely on to make their operations work. So this, they kind of have their backup drivers already registered. Now, I don't know outside of Relham who is their other backup driver. But I don't think you would need a backup for a backup unless 2 of your drivers were sick or injured or whatnot. For example, the 30 of Doug Doering was ARE's backup driver. And they needed that after Logan Thronberg essentially died in a crash at Michigan. Definitely sad. Najimy lining up on the outside, she got a good run when she was running up front on the previous restart. Or at least one of the previous restarts. We will be going green with 20 laps to go. From the Sanderson Farms 500 from Talladega Superspeedway. Green flag in the air. We're underway once again. And as I had predicted, Najimi got that run again. That's exactly what I had expected. Although she's probably not going to get the opportunity to clear as Sarah Feng was able to do on the previous restart, because now she's basically bottled up high, because they're 3 wide jockeying for first position here. Callan Fleming and Jacob Thibodeau getting a good run off of 2. And there's Riley Wedge back into the picture, who had instigated a previous accident. Jacob Thibodeau able to clear all lanes. Fleming now solidly in second. Nate Relum opens up the middle lane and forces Wedge up high. Aguilar now fighting for second. He went from the middle lane down low and now back up to the middle. He's basically running the status quo with whatever Fleming's running. Yeah, whatever line that Fleming wanted to run, Aguilar was running, and now he's done with her. He's now going to run his own pace. He's now in second, trying to chase down the 87 of Thibodeau. As Fleming again, switching lanes quite often. Same with JJU, and same with basically everybody in this pack. They're all running very different line patterns because they just want to run what gets them to the front of the field, because this is their go time. I would not say that this is the time to sort of go down to the go down to the inside and just drop back. You don't want to drop back, because if there's another yellow, you're going to be stuck with all the back markers and everybody. Just don't go to the back of the pack. Try to stay up front. Try to run your groove. My advice would have been don't get caught up in a wreck, but it seems like for a lot of us today, it's hard to do. I mean, it's something you can't avoid, so at least give credit where it's due, right? Top 4 all running single file. Thibodeau, JJU, Luis Aguilar, and Callan Fleming rounding that out, and then a big pack behind them trying to swallow that up and break the formation. As breaking the formation right now is Luis Aguilar. He jumped down low and then eventually regressed back in the line, as it looks like even more cars are adopting that single file adaptation. Although they are 3 wide for this position back here. Oh, they all broke. They all broke from that situation right there. Aguilar trying to chase down the new leader, JJU. Now, JJU with a pretty decent advantage. Why is it saying engine on the top of my board? Is Jacob Thibodeau having engine problems? What in the world? That's weird. I don't know. I'm just going to ignore it for now. Nate Relum to the inside of you. Did he beat him out at the stripe? He did. Let's see how close it was. 3/1000ths of a second. My goodness, that was close. Yeah, there's the 87 right there. He's looking fine. I don't see any engine failure. I don't know. It's weird. Regardless, the 95 and the 5 are out in front. As now JJU takes over. Lap number 44. As the laps are winding down, you have to wonder, is somebody gonna do an oopsie and cause another yellow? Because right now, the field is spread out enough where you can go green. Oh, we got a big spin. Never mind about the green part. The leaders are all wrecking. Big hit. Brennan Wilmington. Everybody's chain reaction spinning. This might have knocked out whoever's left. Who emerges as the leader? It'll be Caden Robitaille with Jacob Thibodeau in second. As everybody scrambles to get what they can. Hunter Walker in third. The yellow is out. Yeah, there goes my jinx about whatever happened to going green the rest of the way. That definitely didn't happen. That is so unusual. My goodness. I mean, I was looking at the back of the field. What even happened to cause this? You know what to do. There you go. Turn that off. I'm getting better at it. All right, I'm getting better at this. I'm not great, but I'm getting better at my drone skills. So let's take a look. I mean, you can see Najimy was poking to. Ah, here you go. Hooks the 95. And then this is just a chain reaction here. Because the 95 comes down, hits the 55, and everybody's spinning. Getting caught up the track there. And then also, while this is happening, watch this up here. Ah, come on. Where is it? There it is. Wilmington, Wedge, and Najimy. And then you also have Callan Fleming, who got up into the wall. She was looking so good with that run, and then it just didn't go, and wham. So yeah, there you go for you. That was interesting. We're going to take a look at Callan's hood first. The number 8 Ford. Excuse me, Chevrolet. You think you're through, you think you're through. Not quite. She barely scraped the wall, though, so I think she'll be fine. She might just need new tires on that Chevrolet. Maybe a little nose damage, but that's really the extent of it all. That's the largest extent of all of this, and that's saying something. Considering the fact that Christian Coppola went on 2 wheels before, I'll take a little nose damage. Ooh, into the wall. That's the third time, again, that we've seen that head-on collision, and we did see a car roll over. I just noticed that. I wasn't looking at it. There's the 91 of Yuri Najimy. Just flipped for the second time this season. Guess that means we should look at her camera angle, eh? Let's take a look. Running at near the front, and just like that, it's all washed away. See, it's looking fine, it's looking fine. Then Wilmington, oh! Like, she got some air. Now, that is what I call air right there. And then the 92 of Adema, he was back there as well. He was in 25th, several laps down, but I still want to take a look at that camera and see what we got cooking. There's Ryan right there, saying hello. Let's back it up a little bit. There we go. Or should we bring it up? I think that's adequate. Yeah, let's take a look. They're wrecking. They're wrecking. They're wrecking. Oh. Hard hit right there, and not what you wanted to see, and then got all caught up. There's Najimi. I mean, at least 3 cars are... Yeah, this is not what I had expected to see. 11 cars, as here comes Dan Wilkins out onto the track. Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, we got 10 to go. This is going to make it really weird for these lap cars. Right now, the leader is Nelson Reeves. I don't know if he'll be able to hold on. I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know. Because you got Robitaille behind him, and then Snyder, who's his teammate. Now, logic would tell you that Robitaille would work with Snyder, and Snyder would work with Robitaille because they're teammates. But that's not guaranteed. There's a point during the race where all these teams, they're essentially telling each other, all right, all bets are off. Just go for what you can. Get the best position that you can. Teammates be darned. You know, the car itself be darned. If you have to send it into a turn, take out somebody else, then so be it. But that's just Robbins racing. Now, the fact that wreck, the fact that wreck happened, you know, on lap, I think it was 44, 45, it now makes me think that we can go green the rest of the way. However, it makes me think that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. That's just my projection. I was obviously wrong, and I was proven wrong before, literally 20 seconds after the fact. So who knows? Who knows? It could very well change. Arm and Salvador going to pit lane. I believe that Wilkins will be going to pit lane as well. But can you believe it? Right now, basically the entire field is gone except for about 10. It is scary. It is scary how few cars are left. You'd think you'd be watching a short track sprint car race. Let's see what Wilkins does. Does Armin get into his pit stall fine? Let's see. Yeah, he does. He's just getting work done. And same can be said for Wilkins. Caution lights are off. That means we are going green next time by on lap number 49 out of 57. That will mean we're going to have 9 laps to go when we go green. Your top 10, I kid you not, there are only 11 cars on the lead lap and 12 on the track because Armin is a lap down. I will not attempt to read off the 30-plus cars that are out, but I'm going to slowly scroll, so if you would like to see your number on there, then have at it. There's 13 through 20, and then 21 through 30, 31 through 40, and then the 14 and the 02 who didn't even take the green flag. The 11 cars, I'm going to call it the top 11 because there's 11 cars on the lead lap. Nelson Reeves, Caden Robitaille, Jackson Snyder, Darian Arnsdorf, Chase Buck, Doug Doring, Sarah Feng, Jesse Owens Jr., Hunter Walker, Callan Fleming, Dan Wilkins, and then Armin Salvador 1 lap down in 12th. I gotta tell you, Jacob Thibodeau, he's listed as out due to engine problems, which I had said before, I don't know what that's from. It had said that he was retired before we even got a caution, so don't ask me. I don't know. I'm not an expert in 18-year-old racing games. Maybe the arcades, but you gotta imagine, there's so many cars that are left with damage. All 11 of these cars might not even be competitive. Nelson Reeves in the lead. If there's any time for him to get his first career win, it would be now at a super speedway. It would give Pacific Racing their second W of the season after taking it home at Michigan with team owner Brennan Wilmington. Now it's time for Brennan Wilmington to show his other drivers that they have a shot as well. Nelson Reeves on the inside, Caden Robitaille on the outside. Lap number 49 out of 57 from the Sanderson Farms. 500 is underway. Less than 10 to go, and now only 12 cars remain, and only 11 are on the lead lap, and I can imagine that less than the 11 that I just mentioned are actually competitive. Caden Robitaille out to the lead. This would be one of the largest upset wins in series history if he's able to do it, because he would be the first driver to win in their first career start. It was pretty, interesting to see Eli Sasak be competitive in his first career start, which was at the Figure 8 Derby. He finished second in his just second career start, which was at the Flemington Raceway in New Jersey. Luis Aguilar ended up winning that race. That was his second win. Now Caden Robitaille looking to make history. I'll tell you who else is looking to make history. Darian Arnsdorf. He hasn't won in a long time. He hasn't won since Season 2, Race 3. As now Nelson Reeves is going to pit lane. Oh no! What happened? Is he out of gas? I don't know. He might just be getting regular service. Although that is really going to give Robitaille a big lead, because guess what? Jackson Snyder is now in second. Yeah, there's Reeves getting work done. As Robitaille is in the lead, Reeves is coming out, and the caution is out on the racetrack. I don't know why. This is going to change everything. Here comes Robitaille back to the line. He will lead as we take the 5th caution of the afternoon. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm going to be quite blunt with you. I don't know what happened. Like, is it something that ended up being a factor or whatever? I don't know. But just very confusing. As there's Chase Buck getting in the line. I would assume that this now means that Nelson Reeves will take 11th. I mean, he was leading too, and man, that is such an unfortunate thing to see. But right now on lap 51 to 57, this could mean 2-lap shootout. That would be nice. I'll tell you, that would be nice to see. Again, no clue what brought out the caution. I'm thinking either debris or a mechanical thing. Absolutely no clue, though. But I gotta tell you, you know who doesn't want that caution? And you know who's really hurting right now because of the fact that that caution came out? That is Caden Robitaille right now. It's his first career start. He wants to impress everybody. He wants to be in front. And right now, he's there. He is in the lead. He's looking for his first career win. He's never won in any MSCCT divisions. It's not the MSCECR, MTHSS, MSCSS, which was from last year. He hasn't won. This is his first start in any level of competition. You gotta feel for the guy. Hunter Walker as well. Not a guy that you would really expect to be out front right now. He's in second. Callan Fleming in third. Dan Wilkins in fourth. And I would assume that because Driscoll and Adema are both out, with Driscoll being scored as, where was he, 39th, and then Adema finishing 25th, that's probably going to guarantee that Dan Wilkins will take the points lead, assuming that he finishes this race in the first place. And then behind him, you have Chase Buck in 19th, Doug Doring in the 30 car in 6th, then you have Darian Arnsdorf in the 98 in 7th, Jackson Snyder has regressed all the way to 8th. Jesse Owens Jr. in 9th. You have Sarah Fang in 10th. And then Nelson Reeves in 11th. Man. You know, when I hit the record button on this race, I did not think that we would finish with 11 cars or less. But I didn't think that it would also be good racing between these cars. It would be, you know, you would see lead changes, you would see all of that. And that's what you like to see. It is what you like to see. These fans have got to love it. I don't even think the fans care that there's so few cars, because some of the fan favorites are at the front. You have Dan Wilkins, Chase Buck, Darian Arnsdorf. They're stars. There's Jesse Owens Jr., you know, possible Rookie of the Year candidate. I do think the Rookie of the Year will probably be Ronnie Martin, but that depends on if the rest of the season works out for him. Because you don't know if it'll work out for him. Armin Salvador going to pit lane. I assume since he's not on the lead lap, he's going to get out there on pit lane. He's probably going to get some work done. He'll most likely restart 12th. Let's see, when does that pit sign come down? He started near the front. There he is. He's going to come on in, and he's going to get some service done. Or not. I did not expect that. Salvador's out. Oh my. Salvador is out, so there goes your lead lap. There goes your one car that wasn't on the lead lap. Now all 11 cars on the track are on the lead lap. Now this means, I guess if you want to use a fancy Game of Thrones term, and then there was 11. Oh, goodness. Again, got a feel for Nelson Reeves. Restarted in first, got pit service at the worst possible time, and it's now fallen all the way to 11th. And when I say all the way to 11th, I don't just mean he's outside of the top 10. I mean he's the last car on the track. It just looks so weird seeing, instead of 42 cars or 43, maybe even 40 if you're generous, at Talladega, instead of seeing that huge field taking up the entire backstretch, it's just a miniature conga line of 11 cars, and maybe 12 if you include the pace car, but I don't think that pace car is going to meet minimum speed or tech. Man, I wonder if Caden Robitaille is going to be able to get to the lead and stay there. Because you know on the restart, Walker will be on the outside. So is that going to mean that Robitaille's going to lose his spot? Or is he going to be really pedal to the metal on the restart and be able to keep his spot? I don't know. I have a good feeling that that outside line, even though it's a super speedway, regardless of whether you run the shortest way around or the longest way around, you're going to be fine. It's not like a regular 1.5 miler or short track where the groove or the line that you run, that would matter. If it was Bristol like we saw, that mattered. This, it doesn't matter because everyone's full throttle. Everybody's going as fast as they possibly can. So it's not going to matter what line you run. It's just going to matter the draft and who wants to help you. That's what's going to matter. So it's Robitaille, Walker, Fleming, Wilkins, Chase Buck, Doring, Arnsdorf, Snyder, Owens, Fang, and then Nelson Reeves in 11th. And remember, they're also going to have, if needed, a green-white checkered. Just a heads up, this will not count as a green-white checkered if needed. If they wreck with less than with 2 to go or more, like if they wreck on the first lap that they go green, which would be 3 to go, lap 55 at a 57. If they wreck with 2 to go, green, white, checkered. However, once the leaders take the white flag, the race is official. So if they wreck, they'll still race back to the line. However, the field won't be frozen. The field is never frozen when the caution comes out. There's always the race back. as here we go. Soldiers formation. Robitaille on the inside, Walker on the outside. Snyder, his teammate, watching eagerly from the 8th position, trying to make a move. We will go green with 3 laps to go. If I want to pull out my calculator and see how long that is, 2.66 miles times 3, we have 7.98 miles of racing left from the Sanderson Farms 500. Who will take the checkered flag and who will roll their way into victory lane? Will it be Robitaille? Will it be Walker? Will it be Fleming? Or will it be Wilkins? Or will it be another? Green flag in the air. 3 laps to go. Robitaille with a slow restart. Wilkins with a great run up the high side. And Fleming, his former teammate, also running with that same groove, but they've got maybe a half a car length in front of them. Just getting up to speed, Walker and Robitaille running with a bit of a tandem. They still have a little bit of time, though. Here comes Fleming, breaking from this single file racing. And going to jump to the inside, going to try to take the lead away. This would be Black Swan Racing's first win if Fleming's able to pull it off. She's currently in 3rd. Robitaille trying to help Hunter Walker. Fleming breaks from his rear. And Walker also breaks from Robitaille. 2 laps to go, this time by Hunter Walker in front. Oh, he left a door open. He left a door wide open for Callan Fleming on the inside. Fleming to position number 1. And again, Dan Wilkins. Remember, Fleming used to be with DWR in the 46 car, but then switched to the 8 and with Black Swan. As now she's got a commanding lead out in front. Wilkins to 2nd. You know, Walker's got some damage, and so does Wilkins. I think that Fleming is the only spotless car out there. She tagged the wall on that last caution with less than 10 to go, and that was really barely anything. That wasn't that wasn't much of any damage at all. She takes the white flag. 1 more lap to go. 2.6 miles remaining from the Sanderson Farms 500. She's got about 0.3 of a second lead from her and 2nd place Wilkins. Will the pack make one last move? She's got a big lead. Down the back one final time. Wilkins might be gaining on her, and Wilkins is exploding the engine on the last lap. Such a heartbreak for that 00 team. They were going for a silver medal, and now it's all thrown away. Does Arnsdorf make one last move? I don't think he's got enough power. He's got a lot of hood damage, so it might be slowing him down. Callan Fleming, the former driver of the 46, cranks it up to 8 and cranks it to the checkered flag. Callan Fleming wins at Talladega. Man, what a heartbreaking ending for Wilkins. He's not even going to finish the race. He will be scored 11th, so maybe it might not be the points lead change that we had all predicted, but man, that was a great 3-lap shootout, and I thought that it would be Robitaille or Walker. Turns out I was wrong. It was the driver who restarted outside of the top 5, Callan Fleming. And Darian Arnsdorf with the best finish of his season so far. 2nd, Robitaille in 4th. Nelson Reeves in 3rd. Another great performance for him. Jackson Snyder in 5th. Chase Buck in 6th. Doug Doring in 7th. Sarah Feng in 8th. Hunter Walker in 9th. He restarted 2nd. And then Jesse Owens Jr. in 10th. Callan Fleming takes home her first career win at Talladega Superspeedway. We will see you next time from the Rockwell Collins 400 from Iowa Speedway and the heart of the Midwest.